Welcome to TCA's Year 7 lesson about the Black Death. You should have already completed a starter activity as part of a team's live introduction. Let's make a start on the lesson. Remember to pause this video where I ask you to in order to complete the tasks. To introduce you to our new topic in our overarching theme of medieval Britain, we are going to do some source analysis. On the screen is a picture of a source. Your task is to carefully look at the picture and answer these two questions. What can I see? What do I think is going on? Write these answers in your book. Pause the video here to complete the tasks. I'm now going to go through what can be seen in the source. Add to your answers if I cover anything that you didn't get. Firstly, he can be seen here. Another man is bent over at the back of the source and looks like he is being sick. There are also priests stood around. These priests look like they are praying. The people in the background look very scared. This covers what I can see. In terms of what do I think is going on, I have summarised here overall what I think is happening. Some of the people in the source look ill and everyone around them looks very worried about this illness. The priests are praying over the people who are on the floor being sick. Maybe they are trying to help them get better through prayer. The sickness that I mention in this source is the Black Death, and this is the topic for today's lesson. What is the Black Death? We're going to watch a video that's going to teach us all about the Black Death. Make sure you are paying close attention as you will be tested on how much you can remember. Whilst the video is playing, I would like you to write down 3 bullet points about the Black Death that you get from this video. In a moment, I'm going to press play on the video all about the Black Death. Make sure that you're watching carefully and making the notes answering the questions. Warning, this video contains some clips that some people might find squeamish. If you are not good with pus, blood and boils, I would recommend you skip ahead. Skip ahead to about 7 minutes of the video and that should skip the whole thing.
The delirious victim staggers about in his final moments. His speech is slurred, skin purple-black covered with swollen, pus-filled lumps as death calls him. Witnesses to this terrifying spectacle called it the Dance Macabre, or Dance of Death. In the 14th century, a terrible catastrophe fell upon Asia, Europe, the Middle East and North Africa that would change the course of history. The Black Death. The Black Death, or bubonic plague, was an outbreak of disease that killed 1/3 of the European population in the period 1347 to 1350. It had a similarly devastating impact in Asia, the Middle East, and North Africa. The disease played no favorites. Rich and poor, young and old, priest and peasant, all fell victim to this horrible and, at the time, unexplained sickness, which was spreading like wildfire. The populations of entire towns and villages were wiped out in a matter of days. The dead were buried in mass graves to cope with the rapid death toll. Only a thin covering of soil was placed over the dead bodies before another layer was buried on top. Pope Clement VI made sacred the Rhone River so corpses could be thrown straight into it. So, what is the Black Death? Where did it come from? While it's difficult to trace with any real certainty, the outbreak is believed to have originated in the Gobi Desert in Mongolia early in the 14th century. Prior to this, the disease had existed for centuries in regions of Asia with small outbreaks occurring from time to time. Any one of these could have been the source. Once infected, the victim would first experience a high fever, aching limbs, and fatigue. Within days, the lymph nodes in the neck, armpits, and groin would start to swell and turn black. These black swellings are where the Black Death gets its name. Michael Placentius, first-hand witness to the horrors of the Black Death, wrote, "Here, not only the burn blisters appeared, but there have developed gland boils on the groin, the thighs, the arms, or on the neck. At first, these were the size of a hazelnut and developed accompanied by violent shivering fits, which soon rendered those attacks so weak that they could not stand up, but were forced to lie in their beds consumed by violent fever. Soon the boils grew to be the size of a walnut, then to that of a hen's egg or a goose's egg, and they were exceedingly painful and irritated the body.
What were the symptoms of the Black Death? Well, on day 1, painful swellings called buboes appeared in the victim's armpits and groin. These were usually about the size of an egg, but sometimes they could grow to be as big as an apple. On day 2, the victim vomited and developed a high fever. By day 3, there was bleeding under the skin, which caused dark splotches all over the body. On day 4, the disease started to attack the nervous system. This meant that the victim started to suffer spasms. This is where your body violently reacts and you can't control it. The victim at this point was in terrible pain. By day 5, sometimes the buboes had burst and a foul-smelling black liquid oozed from the open boils. This is what gave the Black Death its name. When this happened, the victim usually lived. So the bursting buboes was actually a good sign. However, in most cases, the victim suffered a painful death. We are now going to look at what were the causes and the treatments for the Black Death. On the next screen will be several different cards. You need to sort the cards out into the correct categories. Please draw this table into your books. Remember, causes are anything that lead to the disease. Treatments are anything that people believed would cure the disease. Pause the video here to allow yourself time to draw your table into your books. The different cards that feature all the causes and all the treatments. You need to read through them and decide which one is a cause and which one is a treatment and write them down in your table. We're going to do the first two together. So let's do this one together. People believed that the Jews were responsible for causing the disease and that they should be burnt to death to stop them from spreading it. Where shall we put that on our table? I've popped that in causes because this is something that people believed started or caused the Black Death. Therefore, it goes on the causes side. Pause the video here to add this to your table. Let's have a go at the second one together. If you cut yourself off from other people, you are safe. Stay in your house where there are no sick people. What do we think? Is that a cause or is that a treatment? I have added that into the treatment box. Because if you are cutting yourself off, if you are doing something about it, that is a treatment, because they are believing that by keeping themselves separate from everybody else, they weren't going to get sick. Pause the video here to add this to your table. Here are the answers. All of the boxes that are coloured in orange are the causes. All the boxes coloured in green are the treatments. Check that you have the right ones in the right column on your table. Pause the video here to give yourself time to check your answers. So what really caused the Black Death? From our previous task, we know that people in medieval Britain thought all kinds of things caused the Black Death. From Jewish people, to the planets being aligned, to toilets. They had lots of different answers for this. In reality, the Black Death was started and spread by animals. It started, as you can see on our circle, with the fleas who bit infected rats. Bacteria would then multiply inside the flea. The flea then carried this bacteria, and they would then be transferred to a human, which they would then bite. As the flea was infected, once they bite the human then becomes infected too, and they later get sick and possibly die. Your final task for today's lesson is to answer the following question. Which was more important in allowing the Black Death to become such a disaster? Was it the causes or was it the treatments? I would like you to answer that question in your books. I have given you a sentence starter on the screen which is in red. You may use this to help you start your paragraph. Pause the video here to allow yourself time to write the paragraph.